Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident Podcast. It is a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. On this episode, we are joined by Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza Podcast.
I know when I was in college, we had the national team was supposed to be going somewhere. And we talked to the KBF and we were like, okay, we can come and play. However, they wanted us to foot all the bills and do this, So the stuff that they're giving you and you're a student is unrealistic. And you're like, you know what, that's fine. I'm not going to go. Right. You want to go play for your country, but you can't afford. You can't give what you don't have. Sure. So I wish they would encourage the athletes to be able, even if you're sacrificing something, they can be able to work with you where you can go and talk to the kids, talk to even the players who are playing there. They can be able to see somebody who looks like them. That would encourage them. It goes a long way.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident Podcast, a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. We are happy to have our good friend and co-host, Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza Podcast, who hails from the Republic of Kenya in East Africa. He's a two-time nominee for Best African Diasporan Podcast. And he has been a presenter at the Afros and Audio Podcast Festival discussing Pan-Africanism. And he is slated to be an ambassador at the 2024 Afros and Audio Podcast. Welcome, Sambaza. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Great. Excellent. I'm glad to have you here. You may recall Sambaza and I had a series during Women's History Month where we talked about great achievements and extraordinary stories of women from diverse cultures across the globe. We want to continue that energy and bring you another dynamic guest today. So our next guest is a Kenyan former college basketball athlete who attended Abilene Christian University in the great state of Texas, and she is passionate about women in sports, particularly fairness for women in sports, and we are so pleased to bring her in to share her experience with us. Guys, please welcome Gladys Mochi. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad to bring you in to share your perspective on the topic, motivation for doing this show. There are so many critical topics going on right now, from representation and role models for young girls in the sport, empowering women, confidence building, gender equity, social justice, so many different things going on. We thought it would be good to have a conversation about some of these topics. And so we are happy to bring Gladys in the conversation. And overall, women in sports play a vital role in promoting gender equality, like we said, fostering empowerment and creating positive social change, making their participation and representation in athletics essential for advancement of women's rights and opportunities worldwide. So this is so important to the culture. Sambaza will get started in the conversation.
All right, Gladys, welcome to the show. Now, a lot of you who are not Kenyan will probably wonder who Gladys is. And I want to tell you, she's one of the leading Kenyan pioneers in the female basketball era in Kenya to have come into the U.S. and broke barriers in terms of having to navigate these spaces where we had never been here before. So there was a group of people who joined in at that time in basketball that now prompted people to know more about basketball, and especially in Abilene Christian University. There's a group of Kenyans who did go there, and Gladys being one of them. And she did play with some of the greatest, being like Caroline Omamo, and we'll talk about that later. However, Gladys, look, welcome to the show. And we recently did celebrate Women's History Month. Are there any female athletes or sports figures from history that you believe deserve more recognition than they have received before? You can choose which era you want and which sport you prefer.
Okay, and thank you, Stephen and Jen, for inviting me to the Podcast. This is a topic that should be celebrated and discussed a lot more. So I'm very pleased that you guys are covering it. Now, I may mention one or two people here. That by no means says the ranking that I'm putting it on, or there's a lot more people out there that have made a difference in the women's sports. So I'll just give an example. You know, Kenya, we are known for long distance. So there's a lady named Catherine Ndereba. She was known as Catherine the Great, and she's one of the greatest marathon runners of all time. Marathon 4 times and Chicago Marathon twice, among many other races that she covered. So that's just one of the people who you may not have recognized that name, but that's one of the people that I think she doesn't get enough accolades for what she achieved. Other people like Maria Mutola from Mozambique. She's retired, also a middle distance runner who won gold medals in 800 meters in 2000 in Sydney Olympics. She was also a 3-time world champion and set multiple national and continental records in her career. Okay. Those are two of the ones I can think of. There's Alice Coachman. She was the first Black woman who won an Olympic gold medal in high jump in 1948. So you see somebody like that, a lot of people might not know her, but you see she had to beat the ground. This was groundbreaking because at that time we had racial segregation. It was prevalent in the society, not only for women but also for men. And she had to overcome that and win. And for her to achieve this, it's a big deal. So those are some of the few people that I can mention among many other women that stand out.
Okay. And thank you for sharing that. What are some of the recent, I assume that you're familiar with some of the young athletes that are prevalent with the college basketball and things like that. Anyone that stands out to you that have made some notable achievements for, I guess, recently?
Well, I don't, nowadays I'm so busy that I don't really follow basketball as much as I can. I try to watch it, but it's not as much as I would like to. Yeah. But one of the people that has really stood out to me, especially in this match, in these games that just ended with, Louisiana losing to Indiana, there's, Angela Reese. And the reason kind of I've been looking at what's been happening, especially when those two teams play. And they've brought a lot of traction and a lot of, people are now looking at college basketball has always been very interesting to me, even more interesting, both men and women, because I find it very competitive, and you can actually see how coaches are coaching, because not only does it depend on the talent, but, each year the team might change. So one of the people that I've been looking at is both the Indiana Star and the Louisiana Star. Those two stood out for me. And I think the reason I'm picking them out, especially Angela Reese, is because of the NIL, the name, likeness.
They have the opportunity.
The NIL opportunity that she's getting.
Yes.
Right now, actually, she's making a lot more money than people in the WNBA. And I was watching an interview that they were doing for her, and they were asking her, well, she's a senior, so are you considering going to WNBA? And it was funny. The answer she gave was, well, it depends on how they talk about the money part of it. Because somebody like her right now, she's making 1.75, I think, million. And if you look at a seasoned WNBA player, they're at 250.
Exactly.
So that begs for a conversation here, for that disparity.
Yeah, she was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I mean, who would have thought that they would have done something like that, many years ago?
Yeah, so you find, the young athletes are, they are making a big impact, and things are changing. And some of things like this is what's making me realize, they do need to look at these disparities and talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think to add on to that, is it the she played in Baylor. What's her name? The number one pick, the lady that got caught in Russia.
Yeah.
Brittany.
Yes.
Griner.
Brittany Griner was the highest paid athlete, female athlete, and she should get at least $1 million, but she has to play 2 leagues. The Russian league and then the WNBA. That's how she made up to $1 million. Now you're talking about one person who's a person like Angel Reese who's playing she hasn't even gone professional yet, and she's making 1.75. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So you find that's another conversation that needs to be had, because like the women, they have to go to play pro and combine their salaries to be able to, I don't want to say make it, but at least to be able to make a good, decent amount of money.
Right. Yeah. A lot of them go international too, so that they can have better opportunities for earning as well, right?
Right. Sorry, I didn't mean professional. I meant professional overseas. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And Gladys also wanted to follow up with that question, because there's also the representation. When you have the women out there playing, they're the people who actually also talk about it, the analysts. And we have women in sports media. How much of an impact have they made? And do you think there's still challenges coming up in the studios based on what you see? Because I know we're not in the studios. We don't have anyone in there. But from what you see, do you think there's a better representation? And do you think that they still have some challenges when they are presenting? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, so when I look at presenters, first of all, when you talk about the women in sports, you'll always have where you have to promote gender equality, because that's prevalent everywhere in all the jobs, in all the professions. So that in itself, we know that chances are, as they go in there, chances are they're not being paid the same as the men. Women always end up earning less. So that's one thing. You find that they may have the talent, but I would say the visibility and the growth is really not there, because they're starting so much lower than their male counterpart. And then I think basically a lot of it has to do with just boosting the visibility, growth, and then the perceptions to break the stereotypes. Because typically we've seen, like if it's a football game, in most cases it's been the men covering it. So when it's the women, that's a little bit different flavor. And right now they're being given the opportunities, but it's not nearly as much. If you go a little bit higher, we don't have the leadership to support that as well. Like you don't see somebody who looks like you. There's less women up there in the leadership that you can look up, So things like those is what I think impact women getting into that field. You have to jump higher barriers than a man.
Definitely.
Okay. Thank you for that. And now we're going to go into the female athletes that have made significant contributions to basketball. The reason why I'm talking about this, I remember I talked about Caroline Omamo, the late Caroline Omamo, and I saw a picture of you in Abilene Christian University. You happened to play with her basketball. What type of exposure did she give the Kenyan basketball? Because she was considered one of the greatest. She was a 3-time first team All Lone Star selection in 1997-98 LSC MVP. And those are some of the things that she is actually known for. I think she's one of the only 6 ACU women to score at least 1,400 points and pull down 900 rebounds in her career. A great achievement. So having played with her and seeing the exposure that she gave basketball from the Kenyan perspective and from an African perspective, and to being a woman and a Black woman in itself, what kind of exposure and how was the experience did she bring to the basketball fraternity?
So Caroline was a phenomenal player, and Just as a person, she was awesome as a person. Before even she came to Abilene, Caroline had a really, really good record. She's the best players that I've ever seen play. I've ever played with. Let me put it that way. So back in Kenya, I didn't get the opportunity to play with her. However, she had already played in the clubs, the basketball clubs in Kenya. She played from high school and then in the basketball clubs in Kenya. And she was also in the national team, the Kenyan national team. So by the time she was coming to Abilene, she had done all these things. And so she had a pretty good record coming with her. In Abilene, she played mostly a number 5. We had a pretty tall team. And by the time I was a freshman, at that time, I was a freshman and I had been redshirted because I was hurt. She was playing either a 5 or a 4, mostly a 5, but we had a pretty tall team. So Caroline, she was at 6'3", but we had people who were 6'5", 6'7". But even with that combination, she was a phenomenal player. Very good at free throws, good at rebound, very agile, and she was somebody who could run down the court. So the coach could use her in so many different positions. And at that time, right now, it's very common in basketball for a big man, like Victor Wembanyama or whoever, for them to take a 3. But the old basketball, a lot of the forwards, in most cases, would only shoot 2s or go post up. But Caroline could take a 3. She could drive in. She could pick that, and she was a really good passer as well, a left-handed passer, So even during basketball, at the softball coach was like, I see you throw a very good, there's a pass that they call the baseball pass. So she was like, can we try softball? But Caroline said she couldn't see the ball coming. So softball was not a go for her, but she was a really awesome player. And I don't think I answered your question. What did you want to know about Caroline?
Okay, now you did set it up for now the next part. Uh-huh. Now that we know she was a great player, because most of us may not know her until we go do a search. Mm-hmm. How much exposure did she give to the upcoming Kenyan basketball players, and also to the people who watched her here, to be able to say, like, you know what, Kenya is not all about running. There's still other people who can play basketball and other sports. It did open up an avenue or a channel.
Right. So I think just by Caroline going to nationals, I do think, because when you watched Caroline play, you could be able to tell that this is somebody who basketball was meant for her. So by her going to the national, for the national team and playing in Australia, because that team went all the way to Australia, that in itself put our team in the map. And a lot of that had to do with her. The team always supports. It's always about the team. But she played a big role in sending the team over to Australia. So that in itself kind of put us on the map. And, younger girls like us, it inspired us to say, hey, we can be able to, that's a good player. That's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. When she came over here, her being on the paper, with the publicity, in fact, at some point, we went, ACU invited us back so that she could go and get installed in the Hall of Fame. Such things whenever, even the athletes that came here after Caroline, whenever we would see that would inspire people to be able to say, I can be able to go to the States and do that. Mm-hmm. She helped put, even the coaches would say, in Kenya, can we get players like that? It helped us it helped the Kenyan basketball be on the map, where you can be able to say, I'm from Kenya, and they can say, oh, I've seen a Kenyan player play before,
That's exactly what we're talking about, the representation, mm-hmm. and setting the role model. Like you said, people back home know, hey, I can do this too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I have options. I don't just have to stay in the city. I can come to the United States, I have options, you know what I mean? And so I love that you shared that. We do have some comments. Shout out to our chat. We did have about 6 people. Sambaza, you want to touch on the comment?
On my end, I can't see the comments
Oh,
yet.
you know what? I think I did that. Let me.
That's okay.
That's what you get for clicking too many buttons, right?
Yeah,
I
no, it's
call
okay.
myself trying to be smart. I'll do it. That's okay. All right, so we have a comment from Mr. Ed Campbell. Peace, family. My sister played professional basketball for 18 years. Shout out to Edna Campbell, I believe his sister, who played in the WNBA. Ed Campbell also stayed. She played Brazil, Italy, Russia, Poland, Hungary.
Oh,
Hungary
okay.
in the WNBA. So shout out to Ed and his sister, who is a former professional athlete. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
definitely representation is so crucial and critical. We talked about some of those changes that are in place, like NIL policy, for example. Some of those changes from when you were playing college level to what's going on right now. What I mean, the NIL is like huge.
That's
But aside,
huge.
okay, like I was gonna say, what do you think is the biggest impact from the difference of what's from back then to what's going on right now?
Okay, so back then, whenever whenever I was playing, we didn't have a coach couldn't pay you.
Mm.
You know, there was some shady stuff going on, but legally a
Yeah.
coach could not pay. I'm not going to speak on those, but you couldn't get money from them. They had to, they give you a scholarship and they expect you're going to come play your 4 years and either go professional or do the next thing. But right now, there's a lot of things going on that athletes can be able to jump on. So before, there was no money involved. They fought through that, and right now, I think there are some states that are going to start paying people. And then we have the NIL endorsements, where students can be able to jump on those endorsements and make some money out of that. One of the biggest things is the transfer portal. So the era when I was playing, I ended up transferring from ACU for different reasons. I finished somewhere else. But transfers were there, but not as much.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, we have what we call the transfer portal. So, a student can play 1 year for a coach, and maybe if they're seeing they're not a good fit, then they can go on the portal and put their name out there, and they get picked with somebody else.
Okay.
So that was not available during my time, but nowadays it's available, So which is a good thing. It can work out for both parties, both the players and the coach. Because if the coach sees maybe this is not a fit player who's fit for my team, then they can give you that. You have a graceful exit. Sometimes it's not graceful, but it is what it is. Yeah.
Right. So Ed Campbell had a question: are Black athletes getting their fair share in NIL? So I mean, we know they're getting it, but
So with NIL, and I've just now started getting a little bit familiar with it.
mm-hmm.
Thing I do know is if you're good enough, those endorsements will come. And the reason for that is because if you can put seats on that stadium, they know that people are going to be watching you. And nowadays, they don't have to come to the game. It's going to be the shorts in YouTube. It's going to be the
Exactly.
TikToks and the, people following you and all that. So nowadays, the way they're doing things is a little different. So I can't really speak on that. But I do know the opportunity is there. Now, whether or not we have representation of somebody who can come to a Black parent and tell them, hey, you know what, we do have this, and this is what you need to do. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes everybody has their own agenda. The person who's telling you and the coach and whoever. So with that said, I know it's out there, but I'm not sure how much information is out there for our Black athletes.
Right.
For them to jump on that bandwagon.
And then Ed asked, what college did you, I guess he missed when we talked about where you played, if you want to share.
Okay. So initially, when I was in Kenya, I got recruited and I came to ACU, Abilene Christian University, which is in West Texas.
Okay.
And then after that, I didn't find I was a very good fit for that college. So, and I didn't understand the education system here in America, because it's a little different here from home. So I decided I knew I was good enough. I knew definitely I'll get a place. So I decided to go to a junior college so that I was able to decide. Remember I said the transfer portal was really not there. Mm-hmm. So that's, to me, because I was a red shirt, I still had all my years. You're given 4 years. And because I had not played that first year because I was hurt, I still had 4 years of eligibility. I went back to a junior college, played there for 1 year and got better, and then went to a school in Oklahoma called USAO, University of Science and Arts. I wanted a smaller college because I had played, at that time Abilene was Division 2. And like I said, we had gone all the way to nationals during the time that the year before I was there. We had gone all the way to nationals. And I had seen how hectic it was. So I was okay with playing, but I wanted to make sure that the place that I go to is a good fit for me. And that's why I decided to go to a junior college, because I knew a junior college, I'd already done 1 year. I was just going to do 1 year and then transfer.
That was a strategic move, definitely. Sambaza, you want to take the next question?
Sure. We're taking the question from Dominic. All right. We have Dominic Lawson. Welcome, Dominic. And he asks, what do you think could be the long-term effects of NIL and the transfer portal as it relates to women in college sports? Oh, that's a great question.
NIL. So, like I said, NIL is newer even to me. I do know there's a friend of mine whose son is trying to be recruited. And I know sometimes the route that the NIL normally goes, they'll sponsor the school itself. So when they sponsor the school, and then they may decide, okay, we are sponsoring, the money is going to this to the team, but then with the team, they divide it, like if a player is really, really good, they get part of that money. And sometimes it goes directly to the person. So I'm not very familiar with how they normally divvy up the NFL, the NIL, but I do know it goes based on the person, the likeness, the name, image, and likeness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I know that's the future. I do know it's a future, and I know it will be a really good thing for our athletes. I can see people trying to stay in school longer, because if I'm being paid 1.7 and all I'm doing is playing basketball for Louisiana State, I don't know if I want to go to WNBA. You know what I mean?
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So those are decisions. Those are decisions they may have to sit down and try to iron out. What was the other question? So
let's see. Well, he was just Ed Campbell was sharing that his sister went to University of Texas Lady Longhorns, but the other question.
No, I think Dominique had asked about the NIL and those.
Oh, that's right. The transfer portal. Any?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So for the transfer portal will give. I think the transfer portal will give an opportunity to transfers, especially students who are coming from junior college. So I personally went to a junior college, so kind of I might be biased, but my son, both my kids played basketball. The older one is a senior in college. He played basketball. He had a full ride. I normally encourage kids to, if a junior college is recruiting you, to go ahead and go. A lot of kids want to go to Division 1.
Right.
It's a lot of work to play for Division 1, even Division 2. The amount of work they're making you put in, because you have to pass all your classes first of all. So that's time you have to put there. But then the practice and all that, it's a lot of work. And if they want to do that, that's fine. It's very competitive. But even junior college is also very competitive. So going to junior community, you can be able to even get more playing time, especially if you're not the main star of the team. You get a lot of playing time. And if you were to go in the transfer portal and a coach, let's say, is looking for a guard, and you are in a junior college, so you already have 2 years experience. You have 2 years experience, and this person might be coming from high school. So with that said, they'll go ahead and take the person with the 2 years experience in front of the senior from high school. So I see that impacting kids who are coming from high school a lot. That's what's going to happen. In the transfer portal, you can be anybody. You can be a sophomore and you just want to go to somewhere else. You put your name in there, and the coaches will go look. Maybe they'll ask you for a video. So the negative impact is, I see that it might impact the high school kids, because coaches will look first at it will give more opportunity to transfers, not necessarily junior college, but transfers, any transfer from anywhere, before they look at the senior.
Okay.
So they'll be lazier to go out and recruit,
I see. Okay. Sambaza?
Okay. Now we're gonna go ahead and discuss the importance of equity and investments in women's sports. Now, you did talk about your sons who have played basketball, and you've had the experience of taking them all the way from the time when they're young till the old, and you being a basketball mom, you're aware of what the trajectory is and what you need to focus on. I'm privy to the fact that we share a friend who also has a girl who plays basketball, a daughter who plays basketball. My question was, with regards to equal pay and investments in women's sports, when you look at these two, like your sons and the investments that are being made on our mutual friend's daughter, do you see that it is coming to an even playing ground, or is there hope that it will get there? Because there is a disparity.
Okay, I don't know. What Dora is this?
I'm talking about Kim.
Okay. Oh,
Kim and Rehema.
actually, she stopped playing. Yeah, she stopped.
She stopped playing. Okay.
Yeah, she did. Now, when it comes to men's basketball and women's basketball, men's basketball is very competitive. I'm not saying women's basketball is not as competitive, but when you there's a lot of competition when it comes to men's basketball. As a lady, it's easier to be, as long as you're consistent, you can be able to get a team. If I'm to invest in my girl child, some of the things I would do is to promote early exposure to sports. Not only basketball, any sports. I'm a big component of a kid playing all the sports. Some coaches will tell you, it's basketball season, I don't want them to go track, whatever. But when a kid plays, even me as an athlete, I know that. When a kid plays other sports, it builds different muscles.
Okay.
Because you find we normally get kids to start playing AAU, I don't know what. They play so early, by the time the kid is in high school, their bones are like they are 40 years old, injuries and all that. Right. So you have to make sure your kid is eating right and all that. But, promote early exposure to sports, highlight positive female role models in sports, because it's not many of them. Find their interest if they're into tennis. There's the Vanessa Williams, there's, what was her name? Those are older ones. But there's a lot of players that you can have them look at as role models in sports. Some of the things that need to be done is to create inclusive and welcoming sports environments where they can be able to go and feel comfortable going there, even if you have to drop them off. Because sometimes you have to drop the kid off to go do other things. So they have to be comfortable to be there. As a society, we need to provide access to affordable sports programs. Because sometimes you want to put your kid in a program, but it's so expensive. It's already expensive traveling with them and providing all these other things. So those are some of the things that can kick you off. And then, offer the girls a girls only opportunity. Nowadays people are like, are you a girl, boy, whatever? I think it would be better if it's a girls only sports. Like if it's when they're younger, it's okay if they can play both boys and girls. But as they get older, it's good for the girl. Okay, in basketball, it's good for the girl to play with the boys because it makes you, will I say, stronger and quicker, and you be more agile with your plays if you're playing against boys. But at some point, if it's now competitive and we have to get an award, I'd like to compete against, if it's girls only, as you get older. And then emphasize the fun and skill development sports, like I said, other sports. And then another big thing would be to educate the parents, coaches, and caregivers on benefits for those girls to participate in the sports. The other thing also is there's cultures that don't, and with cultures mostly, especially for the Africans, that don't encourage the girls to participate in sports. So that could be another thing that I would encourage. And basically, to empower the girls and let them know that, they're queens, they can do it. They have a voice.
For sure. Now, I'm going to touch on some of the common barriers or challenges that female athletes have faced over time. How can these be addressed to create a more inclusive and equitable sports environment?
So, especially for women, we have limited resources. Some of the things that can be done is to increase funding and investments in women's sports and programs.
Okay.
So this will push us and have visibility into those programs. We can establish scholarships and support the programs for the female athletes. The other thing, gender stereotypes and discrimination. So we need to promote gender equality through education and awareness. And then we can also implement policies to prevent discriminations, to ensure equal treatment. We talked about the people who go into the studios and whatever. I'm sure, there's the gender stereotype in that environment. So we can put policies that will prevent, if all the reporters need to be paid this amount. That encourages them to look for that role. And then also we have limited media coverage and exposure. So we need to increase this to promote the women's sports and showcase their achievements and stories so that people can know, this is what we are doing here,
Right. And I think the community needs to support sports in their community. If there's games, we need people to buy tickets and go. I know we have a female league here. And so, definitely have an opportunity to support. And it's very important to support in where you guys live, support your female
definitely.
Athletes. Yeah, for sure.
And then we also lack, like I said before, leadership roles. So we need to increase opportunities for women to be coaching and leadership positions, and then implement policies again back to promote, the gender balance and in sports organizations. Because we find like the soccer organization, what is it called, Steve?
Is it the MLS or
no.
It's not the MLS, but the women? Do you have the women's soccer?
No, not the women's soccer. The one for the organization for the international.
CAF, not CAF. FIFA.
FIFA.
Right.
In FIFA, like if you are to look at the leadership, how many women are up there?
No, you don't see
Very
many.
few. Yeah.
Maybe one or two.
That's just an example. NBA, if you were to look at, NBA is for men, but
Still.
even the WNBA, maybe we have a few. But, we should have to look for the women in we need to have a little bit more up there,
Okay, we just had Craig correcting us, making sure that we got FIFA. It was FIFA.
It's FIFA, yeah.
Yeah, it's FIFA.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm throwing this one out to you. How do you feel about there's Josephine Owino, who plays Kenyan professional formerly for the Washington Mystics, and then we have another one, Olivia Nelson Ododa, with Kenyan roots, who was recently selected to the WNBA draft, and these are trend. Well, we can say trendsetters, and they're going to play a significant role in, not advocating, but bringing the limelight. And these are the younger players. What would you? I'm trying to. How would you feel? How do you feel when you see them play the game of basketball? If you're sitting on your couch watching the game and you see them play, how do you feel?
That's a great achievement for those young ladies.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great achievement. They've worked hard to get where they were, especially going over barriers. Coming from Kenya, in Kenya, that environment does not, I don't want to say it doesn't encourage the women to be as good as, like you have to work really extra hard to overcome so many other barriers, apart from the fact that, you're trying to make it in just basketball. You have a lot of other things in your mind. So for them to be where they are, that's a great achievement. Now, the one thing that I wish would have happened, I wish we could see a little bit more from KBF. KBF is Kenya Basketball Federation.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish there was a little bit more support from them where they can be able, once again, to encourage the grassroots. I do know that, what's his name? Gujiri from Masai Gujiri from the team in Canada. What is it called?
Gladys,
where Kawhi was.
NBA. We're green in this field right now.
Yeah. So Masai Gujiri he's one of the directors for this team in Canada.
Toronto Raptors.
Toronto Raptors, yeah.
Right, okay.
So he has some grassroots efforts back home, and he's really encouraging the kids from the ground. I wish KBF would be able to do like events where they can be able to bring back these ladies, and they can go and talk to the other kids. I was home not too long ago this summer, and we went and I don't know if, there's a guy called Peter Kiganya. He's a coach. He normally goes back and talks to the kids. And the kids are normally so grateful and happy to see somebody that went and came back, Mm-hmm. So he'll go have his own camp, like it's a weekend camp, and the kids will play. He'll have a basketball clinic. And sometimes he'll partner with those people. But I wish they did a little bit more of that. I know when I was in college, we had the national team was supposed to be going somewhere. And we talked to the KBF and we were like, okay, we can come and play. However, they wanted us to foot all the bills and do this, So the stuff that they're giving you and you're a student is unrealistic. And you're like, you know what, that's fine. I'm not going to go. You want to go play for your country, but you can't afford. You can't give what you don't have. Sure. So I wish they would encourage the athletes to be able, even if you're sacrificing something, they can be able to work with you, where you can go and talk to the kids, talk to even the players who are playing there. They can be able to see somebody who looks like them. That would encourage them. It goes a long way.
Definitely.
But the young ladies, they play really well. I try to follow it, but like I said, nowadays I'm a little bit caught up with so many other things. But it's great that they are playing at that level.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gladys, you said your sons play. Are they still playing?
Well, the younger one is a senior, so he'll be graduating in May. But he decided he didn't want to go to college. So more than likely, he's not going to play. He wants to become an electrician. He already went and got a license.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the older one is a senior. He's a senior in York, Nebraska. So that's where he'll be graduating from. So he also went to a junior college first. So he went to a junior college in Chicago, and then after that transferred.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And then let's see. I think, is it your question, Sambaza?
No, I think I'm out of my questions to Gladys today. Yes.
That's right. You came up with an additional one. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. And we appreciate the chat. Again, we have 9 people tuning in. If you are looking at the visual episode, we appreciate that. Be sure to like, share, tell a friend. We appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. We've had a lot of engagement in the chat today. So I just want to acknowledge that we appreciate the support and feedback. So, as we kind of round out our conversation, we appreciate Ms. Gladys today. We talked about how representation is so important. How can we encourage more girls and young women to participate in sports and pursue their athletic ambitions, recreational and competitively?
Okay, I didn't quite catch the question. Jen.
Okay, so how can we encourage more girls and young women to participate in sports, to pursue athletics, recreational and competitively? I know we kind of talked about some of the things that would show representation, but like you kind of spoke to camps and things like that. What are some additional ways that we can get kids more involved and active? Because I mean, we do need, that's another concern in the culture is, obesity and things like that with kids and childhood obesity. We talked about that not too long ago, but so getting kids active, getting them involved in sports.
I think one thing we should, one of the things I think we should, for girls, we should be changing perceptions and breaking stereotypes. But overall for kids, I think it's a matter of, monkey see, monkey do. So we have to try and do it ourselves too, If you want them to go outside, nowadays, we don't send our kids outside like before. So, go with them outside, try to get them engaged, encourage participation and talent development if you can, and then boost that visibility and growth, that way they can know, but generally it's just taking them out there, walking with them, take them to the swing, they'll go do stuff out there, but increasing their awareness,
Yeah, for sure. I can appreciate that. Getting them exposure is crucial to sports. Let them try, even if they don't like it. Like you said, let them try every sport.
Yes, every sport.
Those muscles going. Yeah. Why not?
I remember my younger one. So we moved, and so for middle school, he came from one school and we went to a different school. So I kept on telling him, why at that time basketball season was not here, and I was like, why don't you sign up for whatever? And he's like, no, I don't want to do that. You want to sign up for this? No, I don't want to do that. So eventually he started signing up for stuff. He was signing up for this. I'm like, dang, I didn't tell you to go sign up for every damn thing in the school. Yeah. But then I could tell him no. He worked through what he wanted to do and ended up liking. Like today he had a track meet. He does high jump because basketball is over. So he went and did high jump. He didn't do too well, so he's out he won't be able to make it for district. But I encourage them to take everything, do everything,
Hey.
Drama club, everything, especially for kids with color and for girls. Encourage them, just the encouragement,
So, Jen, can I ask this question as the man here, as the father of a daughter? Because, you're the ladies here in the building, so I got to put my hand, right? So how can the man especially support your daughter in sports? What can she do? What would you advise them to do? Because girls always look up to their dads.
Yeah. If I was a dad, I mean, of course, obviously I'm not, I would tell him, this is what my mom used to tell us. So I'm raised in a single mom. She used to tell us, you can do anything anybody can do.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything anybody can do, yeah. So if you want to play football, go ahead and play football. And she'll find out pretty quick if that's what she wants to do or not. Yeah.
Okay.
I normally encourage them. And for me, if somebody tells me, especially for sports, if you tell me that, oh no, you're changing your mind or whatever, it's a lot of work for me to drive you to wherever and pay my money. So you know what? If you're changing your mind, then we're not going to do this. Because it's expensive and it's a lot of, if you have more than one kid, you're taking your time to take this one, and you have to balance. So for me, yeah, I would encourage her, you can do anything. If they tell you, okay, this is what I want to do, then you support her. You go, okay, you want to play basketball? You have a ball? You go get her for her the ball, the shoes, whatever she wants.
There we go.
Yeah. If she wants to shoot outside, and sometimes it's a matter of just shooting outside, you can go pass to her back the rebounds, and she can see that, you're supporting her. Because with kids are very smart. They can tell if you're trying to support her or not.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I love that. Anything else to share additionally, Sambaza?
No, Gladys made my day when she answered my last question.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. Please support the girls and women in all their endeavors. You may want to change our mind, support that decision, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. Especially, I want to add, especially for us Africans, we really do need to encourage. There's already a disparity for the women, but especially in the sports, it's tough. If you see a girl making it, especially the ones who are in WNBA, even to hear.
Right.
That's somebody who's been consistent and they like the game. They love the for them to be consistent and to be able to go that far, to be that competitive. Because you all know, with it doesn't matter with whatever sport it is, for you to be good, you have to go for practice and be consistent. And if you're doing all these things, amongst other things, maybe your mom is telling you, like for me, my mom would tell me, you're coming back too late. I don't like this. Mm-hmm. And, I play after 1 year. She's like, these people have not given you a job. Because typically where I come from, if you start playing for a club, they would give you a job. So they're like, these people, they should have given you a job by now. You're coming home late. I don't like it. And I'm like, my mom was an athlete before that. So, she knew I have to put in all these things, but she didn't like that. I have to take 2 buses. I have to take 2 buses to get home.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes, it's tough. And sometimes I didn't have the bus fare. My teammates would chip in and I make it all the way. And that's what differentiates somebody who really, even here in the States, you'll find even the stories you hear in NBA or whatever, some of those people, they came from a ghetto or whatever, is because they liked the game. Like they put in everything they could. That's all they knew.
Right.
So you find they go that extra mile to go that extra practice. You go before people to shoot so that when somebody sees you, they can tell, okay, this person, they put in their work. That's why there's a difference between them and the other people. So let's encourage the kids, especially the African girl child. All of them, actually. Them, yeah.
For sure, definitely. I appreciate you sharing that. That is amazing. We appreciate you so much, Miss Gladys. Thank you so much for coming on. We still have six people in the chat as we're getting ready to wrap things up. I'm so enthused and appreciative for all of you guys. The audio episode will be up soon, but please, subscribe and like the channel and share if you would like to see more content from Jen and Sambaza. Yeah, we would love to do more additional episodes. It has been a good time bringing you some good content and some good topics. There's so many things going on right now that we, would like to share, get some perspectives. So, again, Ms. Gladys, we wish you the best, and your son and your family the best. And let's
Thank
see.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Sambaza, anything else before we wrap it up, sir?
No, I just want to thank everybody, and I want to thank Wasambazaji for listening in, and all the people who came in to listen to us, supporting us on this show with Jen and Sambaza. And Gladys, thank you for showing up. We really appreciate you giving us some knowledge, background. I know we talked all about other topics and kind of got you around, but at least you gave us a fair share of what we need to know, and especially highlighting the African girl child, and then bringing it back to the United States where we all live in, to make sure that everybody is aware that it's all one world. We all have the same struggles. So
Right.
I really appreciate that, and thank you very much.
No problem.
Definitely.
All right.
We definitely
Thank
wanna-
you.
You're welcome. Okay, guys. Again, we appreciate you guys. This topic is so important. Representation and amplifying the concerns and fairness that is needed for women in sports and the culture. So until next time, you guys take care. At this time, we're going to go ahead and conclude the episode. We greatly appreciate you listening. We invite you to follow us on social media. On Instagram, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. On Twitter, it is Woke by. On Facebook, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. We also have the new website up, www.wokebyaccident.net. Please check us out. And also follow us on all of your favorite streaming platforms. And please leave a review and share feedback. You can also reach out by Gmail, wokebyaccident@gmail.com. And every time you listen, we appreciate it so much. Thank you for listening, and take care.